Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, how are you? I hope everyone will be fine. In my last video, I have mentioned that I'll talk about the keywords and identifiers. But that topic is still super important topic, but I want to focus on the structure of C program, right? Because this is the basic structure of the C program, right? So this is the fundamental concept of the C program, right? So it will be really interesting to understand it. First structure of the C program, and then we will use all keywords and identifiers in a process in which our program, right? So in my previous video, I have discussed about the introduction of the C program, why we need to write program, language translator, all about, right? So in this video, I'll talk about the basic structure of the C program, right? How many sections are written in our C program, I'll tell you all about that, right? Some sections are necessary and some sections are not necessary to include in our program, right? So in our C program, very first section in our C program is that documentation section, right? What is documentation section? Documentation section is that for our program, right? What about our program, right? What type of that program, right? So all about is written in the documentation section in our program, right? So this is the comment section in our program, right? For example, I want to write comment section, I want to write documentation section about a simple sum program, right? Then how I will write it? Documentation section, right? So this is the detail of the simple. So this is the detail of simple program, right? For example, I have written sum of two numbers, then I will write documentation about that, written by Hanan Ali, author, and this is the what time it is written, right? And what's about that program. This is the simple two numbers of the addition of two numbers, right? So this is the basic simple addition of two numbers, right? So this is the documentation section. But documentation section in our compiler written in comment form, right? How we'll make it a comment form, right? So we will write here double forward slash in starting point and double slash in ending point. If we write in any line in our program double slash in starting point and ending point, it will become comment section. Comment section, compiler will not execute it. Compiler will understand it. It is only comment, right? Compiler will not execute it. Compiler will ignore it, right? So this is the comment section, right? So as that, like, we can write single comment section, but if we want to write in our program multiple line comment section, then we have to write forward slash asterisk, and at the end of asterisk and forward slash at the end of the line, that statement will become a comment section, right? So this is the multiple line section, right? In this way we can write in our program multiple section, right? So this is the multiple section in our program, right? So this is the simple program documentation section, right? Generally we not write a documentation section because our program may be 20 lines, maybe 15 lines, right? So that's why we not write a documentation section. Any other person can easily understand that this program is that sum of the two numbers, right? Sum of two numbers may be 3-4 lines, right? So easily can understand another person this is a program is about sum, right? When documentation is necessary, when large program is written, no, in future, when see it another person, another programmer, he does not need to, he has to look, instead of he has to look all the program, right? So it will be very tough for the next programmer that will look the that program, right? So that's why we write a documentation section. Another program can easily understand what is the program, what is that program is about that, right? So that's why we write a comment section. But comment section is very necessary because when we write a large program, then we have to write a documentation section. So this is the optional section in our program, right? But it is necessary to write, right, in our huge program, right? And next section in our program is that link section. Next section is that link section. Link section, why it is written? Because in our program we use many function, right, but we not write its coding, right. We simply use their name, that function, and these function use in our program, right, and these function work in our program. For example, we write printf function. Here we will write a statement, and that statement printed on the screen, right, by using printf function. But compile don't know what is the purpose of printf, what is the printf function, right. But it is written in the standard library files, right. It is written in the standard library files, that its background coding and its function and its all coding has written in standard library files. So that's why link section is very necessary, that links our program to standard library file. How we will write that standard library file, right. So we will write hash. So we will write hash include stdio.h. This is the standard library file, right. Hash means that this is a preprocessor directives include, we are going to include that library files, and std means that standard library file, io dot input output, right, dot h, it is a header file, right. So we use that header file, we use that header files function that are written in that library, right. These are library are written in the already compiler, right. If these library file are already, these library file are predefined already in our compiler, right. So its function are all right, all function are written in that library files, right. So that we use just their name and use their purpose, right. So this is the printf function purpose that is written in stdio.h, right. Another function is that we use scanf to get the input from the user, to get the number, any digits, any character from the user, we use a scanf function, right. So this is also written in stdio.h. So that's why if we don't include this library, then we not use that function in our program, because compiler don't know its meaning and its purpose, right. So that's why we include that library files, right. So these library has many function, but these are frequently used function in our program that we will write, right. So that's why we write these include library files, right. So next function is that we use frequently in our program in the last, right, get ch. Why we use this function? We use this function to hold the output on the screen. When all output display on our screen, so to hold it, to hold that information, hold that output, we use this get ch function, right. So get ch function, what will do? Get ch function take the character from the user, then it works, right. So until user not press any key from the keyboard, right, so it will hold the information, hold the output on the screen, right. So that's why we use to this get ch function. This get ch function is written in the standard library files, is that hash include conio.h. This function is written conio.h. The full form of conio is that console, right. So this is the console function, right. This is the standard library function, and this is the console function, right. So this library also has many functions, but we have to at least one function, then we have to need this header files, right. So we use this function, and next function is that we frequently in our program, that math function, right. If we want to square root of any numbers, then we simply use the function directly sqrt and number, and then, right. So here we will write number, and the next function that we use in frequently in our program, that a string function, right. We work on the string, right. Then we write a function, right. What will do that function? That function find out the statement length, right. We write a simple statement here, and it will find out the length of that statement, right. So this function is written in the library file, the name is that hash include string.h. So this is the library of the string for string, right. So we use all string function by declaring a string library, right. So then we use all string function, right. So next we will use strcpy to copy a string, right, and strcmp to compare two strings in our program, right? Write strcat to concatenate two string. So these are all function we write in our program. That's why we need to include that library files in our program, right? So these are very must part in our program, right? And the third section in our C program is that definition section. And next section, what is the definition section, right? Definition section is a constant, that value we want to constant throughout the program. We will write here definition section, right? For example, generally we use pi value in our programs, so we write here, we write definition section that value, right? We write, so in this way we write definition section, right? What is the benefit of the definition section? Definition section, that value we want to use in all our programs, right? But our program is two function. One function is that main function, and second we make user defined function, because C is must main function, and other function we can write in our program, right? That value we write definition section we can use in our main function and in our user defined function. So this is the global declaration, right? So we can use in our all user defined function and main function, right? So, and next benefit is that we if we want to use this pi value in our program for 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, right? So we don't need to again write, again declare that variable and this value, right? If we don't declare here this value, then we have to write 6 times in our program. If we need to write 6 times this value, we have to declare this variable 5 times, and this value write 5 times, and it's a data type. So this is will be very tough, thus this will be very confusion for us, right? So that's why we write here. And next benefit is that if we have used these value at 6th place, then we can simply use here this value automatically change in at our at 6 places, right? By just changing here this value, right? So this is the benefit of that, right? So frequently in our program we find out maximum and mean. So we write value here maximum and mean. We will write hash define and variable constant variable name and the s value. So max 50 value can be used in our main function and user defined function, right? So if we have used this value in our program for 100 times, then we just need to change here, and it value will be changed in our all function, main function and user defined function. So this is the also benefit of that definition section, right? So next section in our program is that next section in our program comes global declaration. What is the global declaration, right? We used in our program variables. So we use two type of the variable. First variable is that global declaration. Global declaration variable that we can use in our main function, user defined function, anywhere we can use of it, that variable that we will write in global declaration, right? So what is the difference between, so you will confuse the difference between them. Here we will write the constant value we want to keep, right? And here we will declare variable, right? And its data type. So global variable can be used in our main function and user defined function, right? So to understand it, for example I make two function. First function is that this is the main section, right? Here will be statement are written in our main section, right? For example, we write two function. We can write in our C program main function is only one, and user defined function we can write many user defined function we can write in our program, right? If we declare this variable in our, there are two function, right? I want, so these are two function. First is the main function and second is the user defined function, right, for sum, right. So if we want to these variable in two function, right, then so we have to write these function in two different two function, right, in both two function, right, because this is the local declaration of the variable, right. This is the local declaration of the local declaration means that that variable will be used in that function we have declared, right. So if I declared this function, this variable will be used in main function, and this variable will be used in a user defined function sum, right. So we cannot access this variable in another function, right. So if I write in our program this variable, I write in a global declaration, right, outside of the all function, main function and user defined function, outside of the before the main function and user defined function. Then we can use at in every function of the program, right, in every function, user defined function and main function, right. So this is the global declaration of the variable. So this is the global declaration of the variable, right. And then next section in our program is that in our program is that main section is very necessary in our program, because first control goes to the main function, execute it, then execute the next other functions, user defined function, right. But always execute main function, right. So control goes the main function and execute it, and then other function are called in the main function, right. So main function is very necessary in C program, right. So this is the this compulsory section in our C program. This is the compulsory function in C program, right. So global declaration we can, this is the optional definition section may be optional, we cannot use global declaration, we cannot use definition section, so this is the optional. But link section we have to include because we want to use their function in our program, right. So these two sections are very necessary in our program. So how we will write these section, right. This section we write int, we write int, we'll write int and main. So we'll write main function all statement it will execute, right. Control always goes to the main function, execute the main function first statement and next all statement, right. In our main section there are three process in main section. What are these? First section is that declaration of the variable. We declare variable int a, int b, so these are declaration of the variable. And next is that execution of the execution means that working process of on that values, right. And third section is the output of the output, right. In main function we'll write here, in main function first we will declare variables and then execution of that variable and working process on that variables, and then give you output, right. So these are three steps in main function, right. And last section in our C program is that sub program section, right. What is subsection program? Subsection program are that user defined function, right, that we will write after the main function. We can write it these function, user defined function, before the main function and after the main function, but we generally we write after the main function because we have we work on the main function and these function are called in main function, right. So our focus is on the main function, that's why we write first main function and then the user defined function, right. So these are all sections in our C program. Now I'll give you a simple example by using all section in our C program. But before that, we take a simple example of a C program to understand the structure of the C program, right. Then we will write a simple program that will in all section include in a program, right. So now I'll give a simple example of a C program, right. Include. So simply we write first program is that hello world print on the screen, right. So first we have include standard stdio stdio.io.h include standard library file, because we are using this function printf that is written in that library file, right? And second is that console.h. So we using getch function. That function is written console library file, right? So that's why we include that two library files, that we are using two function in our C program, right? So we can use any other function of that library files. So they are simply we use the two function of that library files, right? So this is the main function type, right, that we will return, right? So here we will write, so int means that we are integer value, we will return this function, right, main function after the execution, right? So this will return the value int 0, right? So this function, main function, right? If I write here void, then no value we will return to this function, right? So next is that parenthesis is started, in which all statements are written in our program, right? So printf function is used to print the statement. Here what we will write, that will print on the screen, that message the user on the screen, right? This is the returning value, and this is the getch function that hold the this output, this output on the screen until we not press the button on the keyboard. We will press the button, it will disappear from the screen, right? So this is the simple program of the C program, but many section are missing, right? Here is documentation section is missing. Here is definition section is missing. Global declaration section is missing, and subprogram section is missing, right? So these are optional, right? We can write this section in our program when we need, right? So the main section are very important in our C program, right? At least one statement main section is very necessary in our program, right? In main section are also missing. Here a declaration of the variable is missing, right? Right, not want to use a variable in our program. We don't need to variables to store value to print that statement on the screen. That's why we not indicate the variable here, right? So that's why we simply write a program, right? If we want here sum, subtraction, average, factorial, any other program that will work on the values, then we'll need to declare that variables, and then we will use that variable in the main function, right? So now I'll give you a simple program that will make you understand the all section, where we'll write all section in our C program, right? So now simple example of the C program, that is the sum of the two numbers, right? So this is the a simple program that add two numbers, right? In this program all section are written, right? So first our section is that comment section written, right? So this is the first section of our program that is written by using forward slash and forward slash static slash. This is the comment section, right? In this section I have told about that this is the written by Hanan Ali, the date, and this program is about sum of the two numbers by using user defined function, right? And next is there the standard library function. This is the these library are link section, right? So this is the definition mean, here I declared hash defined function. So int sum, this is also definition section, right? So if I not write here, it also works, right? But we have to write this user defined function before the main, it also works, because but we can use this function, our main function, as well as another user defined function. So that's why we will write here that statement, that definition section in global declaration, right? So this function, this some function can be used another user defined function as well as main function, right? And int a, this is the also global declaration variable a5. A value we can use, I can use another user defined function, another function in main function and user defined function, right? So next is that int main. Int main is that this is the main function, starting of the main function. int add, I declare a variable of integer data type that will plus the value and hold that values. Here I use some function. This is the calling of function, right? It, when control comes here, compile that statement, and control goes the some function, right? And that is the arguments, where we will write values, right? here we will arguments, and these arguments will go to the pyramids, right? Will go to the and store here x 50 and y will be 16, right? So here both will be plus, and return this value into this function, that is 66. 66 will be returned to this function, and it will be stored into that variable, and it will be printed on the screen, right? And next is that printf, that is statement that is using to print the screen. This is the addition of, and next we will write comma, and next we will write that variable that we want to print value, right? Here value 60 value will be printed on the screen. The screen will be printed addition is 66, right? And this is the statement for the screen, right? So this is the simple program that includes the all section in C program. I hope you got it. How we write C programs, what is the structure of the C program, and how we write C program, right? So this is the all about the structure of the C program, right? And in the next video I'll describe about the data types. Till then, a lot of care of you. If this content is helpful for you, please like and subscribe this channel and share this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, a lot of care of you.